René Descartes was a 16th century French philosopher. He was originally a mathematician and is known for his work in connecting algebra and geometry. But he took that sort of structured and mathematic view and applied that to all of his work in philosophy. So he contributed a lot in metaphysics and, for what we're going to talk about today, religion, particularly in the meditations, mostly meditation 3. He talked a lot about religion and the proofs for God. So in the meditations, he had a central mission statement. He was trying to reestablish knowledge on a strong foundation. So he wanted to get that strong foundation by doubting everything. And after doubting everything, he would be able to see what he couldn't doubt, and what he could not doubt is what he would call certain knowledge. So that was the sort of mission statement of the meditations. He really just wanted to get a foundation of knowledge. So in the meditations, he found that ideas come in 3 different categories: factitious, adventitious, and innate. So factitious is solely created in the mind. For example, a unicorn is a factitious idea. Adventitious ideas come from an external source. So an example of that could be heat or noise. So that heat needs a cause. So let's say like an oven, and that noise needs something to make that noise. And so the last kind of idea is an innate idea, and these ideas do not come from an external source. So their truth is independent of the world around it. And Descartes says that these ideas are put into you at birth. So an example of this, Descartes uses mathematics. 2 times 2 is always going to be 4. So Descartes uses this last kind of idea, innate ideas, to prove the existence of God. At the end of Meditation 1, Descartes says that he is a thinking thing, and as a thinking thing, he has a thought of a perfect being. Descartes basically is saying that every effect must have a cause. So he argues that as a finite being, he would not be able to create the idea of an infinite being. Only an infinite being would be able to create the idea of an infinite being. And that idea would have to be put into Descartes' head. So this means that an infinite omnipotent being needs to exist, according to Descartes, in order to give him this innate idea, which goes back to cause and effect. To that, Nietzsche would probably say that it is entirely possible for a finite being to have an idea of an infinite being, and that idea is just a fictitious idea. Friedrich Nietzsche is an existentialist, 19th century German philosopher. So his quote, "God is dead, God remains dead, and we killed him." So he's really not saying that God was alive and that he has now died. What he's trying to say is that our language for God in particular is dead, and that religion now is confusing, misleading, and unhelpful, and that religion used to be good. It used to help people flourish, and it gave us assurances for what we didn't know, and that now it is in a rut. He finds the Christian calls for obedience, piety, and equality to make a population subservient, and that religion and spirituality now are used to oppress people rather than help them flourish as it used to, and that without God, we need to create meaning in our lives in other ways. Nietzsche says that we get this meaning in our lives through the will to power, which is our natural purpose. And Nietzsche actually says that we should embrace this will to power and that it goes in line with natural selection, and that every single being on this planet is trying their best to do their best, get the most money, the most power, most everything, and that is how we get meaning out of our lives, through the will to power, not through the idea of God.